Enough is Enough. 50,000 plays on Spotify. Why do you think that song resonated with so many folks?
I have no idea. It's really like poppy and fun.
I'm expecting this in-depth. I'm expecting this in-depth.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
Well, no, that's not entirely true. I know a little bit.
Today on Loves Music, I speak with Emily Drinker. It was important that I connected with Emily because I'm sure any day now she'll be embarking on a major world tour and she probably won't be taking my phone call. I'm playing. Emily is a Philadelphia favorite, well-respected in the industry. Her new album, To Feel Alive, is a remarkable piece of work. I couldn't wait to connect with her. I had seen her live a bunch of times, and now, finally, she joins me on Loves Music. Up next, Emily Drinker. Emily Drinker, thank you so much for joining me on Loves Music today.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. It's a travesty that you and I haven't even spoken at depth. I don't know ever. I've probably seen you at shows. We've seen each other in passing. We bump into each other at concerts. And it wasn't until this year that I sat down, time alone, and digested your catalog, and then actually had an in-depth conversation with you. And I'm like, how have we not done this for 10 years?
I know. Yeah, I ran into you. Where were we? The Doobie Brothers concert.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. When it was we were all getting rained on, we're all soggy.
Oh my God. That was a wet night. It was crazy, but it was such a good show.
Yeah. But I can't say enough about you. Obviously, we're going to unpack your catalog's creative process, all the work you've been doing. But before we get into that, there's something you need to know that you might not be aware of. The way that people speak about you when you're not around. On multiple occasions, people have testified about your character, your talent, your songwriting, the way you've inspired them. Yeah, the way that people bring you up in circles, especially in the Philadelphia music scene, is pretty remarkable. And I think you need to know that because you're not going to know unless somebody tells you. So
that's really nice to hear. I am so appreciative of that. I thought you were going to be people just can't stand you. They're like, that girl.
Quite the opposite. Yes, you're very revered in this circle, in this city. So, thank you. So for you to even be here is a big deal to me.
Oh, what? No, thank you. I love getting to do this kind of thing and talk about music and talk about the journey and the whole experience. Yeah. Well, I love being part of this scene. That's really nice to hear from you because that means a lot to me. I really care about our music community in Philadelphia and the surrounding area. And I feel I could not do any of this without all of my friends who are trying to do the same thing. We all have a shared dream and to build each other up and to kind of work together to try to figure out, how do you do this? How do you have a career as a working artist? It doesn't happen without this whole village, if you will.
Well, yeah. Well, I think you are providing a blueprint, so to speak. The rate at which you do shows, the quality of music that you put out. The albums, right? Let's talk about your albums. When artists come on, I always kind of give this, I guess, monologue, for lack of a better term, about their projects. And it's dude, every one of your guests is so good. It's no, I rate people based on where they're at. So if somebody's just coming out, I'm hey, for a first outing, this is good. Or for you just getting back in the game after a long while, this is good. There's some qualifiers. And some people are just remarkable musicians. I hold your stuff up next to the industry standard,
Wow.
You have songs that remind me of Feist, songs that remind me of Joni Mitchell, songs that remind me. You have a song called Something About the Sun, the third album off the second album.
Turn Your Face to the Sun.
It might as well be a Carpenter song. It's so well crafted, so catchy, so simple. Anybody can write a deep introspective song that other musicians like. Not anybody can write a song that you'll hear on Sesame Street. You know what I mean?
That's the ultimate.
Yeah, that's a pop song. So take me through the recent project. Obviously there's themes of feeling, emotion. Both albums are actually called To Feel Alive and then Starting to Feel. So take me through the recent project.
Lots of feelings.
Where was your headspace? What was going on when you were putting that album together?
Well, I just am so proud of it because we did it all at our house in Roxborough. I was living with my partner, Josh Steingard, and Ethan Kane, our bandmate, and one of my best friends and someone I've made music with for like over a decade now. He's like great at producing and was getting back into that world. And he offered to record and mix like the whole album at our house.
Wow.
So that was just like a really cool experience. And it was a collection of songs that I had been working out the last couple years with our band. So I think most of those, well, actually one song, Fifth Ave, is super old.
Right.
I wrote it like over a decade ago when I was living in Brooklyn.
I like that song a lot, actually.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really proud of that one. But the rest of the tunes are like newer and came about in the last few years. Like Something's Coming, I wrote during COVID. To Feel Alive. Actually, To Feel Alive, the title track, I wrote after running into Seth at the mall of all places. And there's even a line about it. Like, I ran into my friends at the mall and then we got to singing is one of the first lines.
Really? For those who don't know, Seth Aaron
Yeah.
is actually my brother, another member of the Philadelphia music scene, which makes this conversation even cooler.
Shout out to Seth.
Shout out Seth Aaron.
One of my best friends and one of my favorite songwriters.
Yeah.
He's so good. But yeah, he literally appears in that first or in that title track because I ran into him at what's a gallery called now? The Fashion District downtown. Yeah. It's a mall. And I was like, yo, come with me. My brother and I are recording some videos. Anyway, so that song and a lot of the other songs are just the last few years of just getting more comfortable in my own skin as like an artist that's been doing this for a few years now. And I think a lot of my earlier songs from previous albums were just younger, like not immature, but more about like heartbreak and this guy was a jerk, that guy was a jerk. Like those were big themes in some of my earlier songs. And I feel like this album is much more like heart-centered and like therapy has transformed me as an adult person, and I've learned so much about me.
You did the work?
I did the work, and I feel like that's what some of the songs are about.
Okay.
And yeah, so I've noticed like an evolution, at least in the songwriting. Yeah, lots about feelings and self-evolution and that kind of stuff.
Okay, so from a sonic or production standpoint, it does feel like the next step in the progression, right? Start to Feel, great album, right? To Feel Alive feels like the logical next step. Like nice. In terms of like growth as an artist, they're 3 years apart. Was there a little bit of a hiatus? Was that on purpose or?
No, it just takes freaking forever to finish these things. Not even just the music part is easy almost. It's just the wherewithal that you have to see a project through when so many other things come up, like a lot of times self-doubt, but just as an independent artist, like you're doing all of it by yourself. So there's just a million things on the list from the album artwork and the promo and, just too much stuff. So I think that was why it took a while, but, and COVID was happening in there.
Yeah.
Somewhere along that timeline, there's that.
Yeah.
And
well, you also play a lot too.
Like I play a lot.
Not a lot of people juggle that like performance regimen with music, that especially not that's this good, right? You'll see people putting out an album every year and then they'll do a show in like April and November. You know what I mean? Or you see people that play every day and they do it and they put out an album in like 2019 and then in 2024. It's rare that like you can get quality music out and then still tour as much as you do.
Yeah, that's true. I wish that I worked a little smarter and not as hard as I do. Because, I just love performing. So I tend to say yes to a lot of opportunities that come my way. And I'm really lucky to have a lot of work just come to me. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. And then all of a sudden my calendar is way too full. Sure. And I'm looking at it and my head is spinning. I'm like, crap, how am I going to balance all these shows? And some of them might be free and some are ticketed and some are cover gigs still. Some are, it's like such a huge mixture of types of shows. And I mean, I would love to get to the point where I'm really just doing a couple local shows a year that I can make really big.
Right.
That's kind of a smart way to do it. Yeah. But I got to work. So I'm still, I still say yes to a lot. And at the end of the day, I'm just so happy to be performing and to be on stage. That's my favorite place to be.
100%. Well, I got to tip my hat to you. You did the XPN Festival, which is a big deal. For those that you don't know, XPN is a radio station that operates out of the World Cafe in Philadelphia. I mean, there's Adele's played at the World Cafe, and then in there, they have a radio station, and then XPN will host festivals. And we're talking big name, Dr. Dog, Wilco, Alabama Shakes. They've all played the XPN Festival, and I was delighted to see Emily Drinker's name on the Sunday lineup. So,
thank you.
How was that?
That
playing
was
the
a
festival?
that was a big deal for me because I have wanted to play there forever, and I just couldn't believe it when they hit me up to invite me this year. I was with Ethan and my bandmate Ethan, who did my album with me, and his brother Marcus. We were at Marcus's house mastering some of the songs for the album. We were like putting the finishing touches on the album, and I got this email from WXPN, and I like burst into tears
Oh
because
my
I was like,
God.
"Oh, I've wanted this for so long," and I love that station. You know, it's a local station, but they're tastemakers, in
Yeah,
my opinion, and
absolutely.
and I look up to them a lot, and they've been really supportive for a while now, and for them to finally like acknowledge me in that way and be like, "Hey, we know you have this new album. This works perfectly for us. We want to uplift you and help you and promote the new album." And like even leading up to the fest, it was cool because they put "To Feel Alive," the song, into their regular rotation on the station. And I was traveling this summer working on a cruise ship in Europe for most of the summer. And so I wasn't even here when they first put it into rotation. So I was getting screenshots or pictures of people's
Oh my
radios
God.
like, "Hey, they're
It's
playing it
so
right
cool.
now." And I've heard myself on the radio before, and it never gets old. It's always like a pinch
No,
me moment.
no.
But
I
like
would start
this
every
was
conversation with that if I had a song on the radio.
I'm on the radio, but I wasn't even there. I was in Europe, and to get like, messages from friends and fans being like, "Oh, they just did it." It was just so cool because I felt so far away from like the scene, and I'm out there playing covers on a cruise. I'm like, "Oh no, am I like screwing myself by doing this trip right now?" And like, but no, they were keeping things
Yeah,
rolling here in Philly, and they were
sure.
using that to promote the fest. And the fest itself was just like, it really was a dream come true. The whole day was so fun. It was just very overstimulating because, I mean, we played first,
Right.
and I thought maybe people wouldn't make it out to Camden that early in the day. The Eagles were starting like 5 minutes after our set.
And for those of you that don't know, the Eagles Stadium is literally across the river. We're talking
Right.
like a mile, not miles, a mile away. So
Yeah.
you're when you're competing with the Eagles on a football day, big deal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was sort of concerned because we played at 12:30. Eagles played at 1:05. And it was like I think it was the first home. No, was it? I don't know. It was a big day, and people
Yeah,
were like really stoked for the Eagles.
sure.
And I'm like, no one's going to come. And it was packed. Like the local community
Yeah.
that supports WXPN, they were supporting our band that day. It was so cool. And I sold a ton of merch. I met a ton of people. I was just like buzzing all day. Like I couldn't walk a few feet without people coming up to say hi and introduce themselves and like say that what they liked about the show. And I was just like, this is the best. So it was really, really a highlight of my career so far, I
Yeah.
would say.
Wow. Well, this isn't
Yeah.
like, just so you guys know, this isn't Emily's first big show. I'm gonna allow you. You're being very humble right now. I'm gonna allow you to flex for a bit. What are some of the big names that you've opened for? Because there's a handful, more than a handful, but give us
Oh,
a few.
I am really fortunate. I've had some really cool opportunities, which I still can't believe have happened at all. I'm like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
I got to open for Pat Benatar. That's probably the biggest name that I've gotten to open for. She was super cool. She was so gracious and like genuinely kind and cool, and like brought us into her trailer, and we got to meet her and the band. And yeah, and she was genuine. She wasn't like, "Who are you?" She was like, "Oh, I picked you off a list of artists that the venue had recommended, and like I listened to everybody, and I love good singers, and like that's why I picked you." And I was like, "Oh my God, Pat Benatar said I'm a good singer." Like that, and I'll remember that forever. So she was great. And I opened solo one time for do you know Rufus Wainwright?
You heard of it?
He's
Yeah.
like,
Heard of 'em.
yeah, he's really an amazing songwriter, very dramatic and beautiful, a lot of like piano ballads. He's someone that I had looked up to for a long time, so that was really awesome as well. I opened for Switchfoot randomly one time.
Cool. Yeah.
Like the Christian rock band from like the early 2000s.
Well, Switchfoot got bangers. That's fine. That's all right.
They definitely
Christian
do.
rock have bangers? Yeah. They're called bangers.
Yes.
All right.
And that actually, their audience was really cool. You know, like I signed some girl's guitar.
Oh, all right.
I was like, oh, this is nice.
Fun.
Yeah, lots of different folks, lots of like songwriters that are people that I've admired, and yeah, I've just had some really, really cool opportunities so far.
Yeah. So could you kind of take me back to the early days? Do you remember your earliest or first memory of music?
That's hard. My first memory of music.
Maybe not hearing music, but the first time you were like, oh my gosh, what's happening to my ears? This is different. What is this?
I bring this up a lot, but I remember my dad taking me and my brothers to the Keswick Theater, which is, local.
Right.
To
Mile down the street.
Yeah. Glenside, to see Ladysmith Black Mambazo.
Okay.
The South African vocal group. There's like a dozen of these guys who sing a cappella and sing in Zulu, and like, so they're singing in another language. It's a totally different culture. And I was just like, what is that? And that was really cool. And they got really famous because Paul Simon featured them on his album Graceland. So that was sort of their big introduction, at least in the US. And they got super big. So they were touring and they were doing their own shows, places like the Keswick Theater. And I remember going to that. I think I was probably like 5. Yeah. And they invited some of the kids in the audience up on stage to dance. And they showed us a traditional dance from their culture. And like, so yeah, that kind of pops up. And I mean, there was music around. Like I grew up going to church and singing at church. I'm sure that's like such a common, in so many interviews you've done.
Church or Disney are like the 1A, 1B, like first answer. They're like, I grew up Disney music or I grew up with church music.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. But also I just like remember listening to the radio in the car as a kid. Like my mom would have like B101 playing. I just remember like Delilah. And I would put that, I would listen to that at night.
Now,
we are. Before bed, I would listen to Delilah because she had like that sweet sing-songy voice, and she was really soothing. And people would call in and request a song, and they'd be like, "Oh, my husband is away, whatever, in some other state on a trip, and I miss him, and I need to hear this song." And like, I would just go to sleep, and she would be playing like all these corny ballads. I just loved it. So, I mean, I must have been pretty young when I was doing that before bed.
Yeah, that's about, you figure my dad was in a band, so I kind of got like, I got the church thing, I got the breakwater thing from my dad's band. Yes. So I'm in like my mom's escort, like in a car. Like I remember I was in a car seat and feeling like, oh, that's like my dad's band. You know what I mean? I was like 3, 4.
Crazy.
Remembering like, all right, my dad plays music. He's a musician. And then,
was that like normal to you, or were you like that?
Yeah. So well, he always just grew up like, I mean, there's always been drums in the house. There's always been musicians at the house. Like we had the keyboard and the drums set up in the basement. So just it feels weird. Houses that didn't have instruments felt weird. And then obviously I go through the rebellious stage with like 90s hip hop and grunge and stuff. But by then I'm already like, I already know like I love music. It was probably, believe it or not, I think because it was so familiar, like my dad's music just seemed like commonplace. And then when my grandma put me onto the Beatles, I saw like Yellow Submarine on like a VHS tape. And I was like, what's this? What's happening right now? You know, and then it was like, I saw like Annie, you know what I mean? I was like, so it was like Broadway, Beatles. And that was like, yo, there's something special here, you know?
Oh man. Yeah. That actually reminds me. I had that feeling too. It wasn't until like maybe late middle school or like early high school, but Beatles just hit me hard, and I got it, you know? Because everyone like has heard of the Beatles, but I dug in probably like 9th grade.
Yeah, me
was listening to all the albums, and it just rocked my whole world.
Oh my gosh.
How many like thousands or millions of people have that experience with the Beatles, right?
It's different generations too.
Yeah.
Like there's like 4 generations of people that got to hear the Beatles like for the first time and be like, what just happened just now?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm someone who's like annoyingly nonconformist a lot of times with like whatever's popular. I'm like, I don't want to just follow along with everyone else. But that's one area where I will never like they could never be overrated in my mind. They could never be overhyped. Like they're everything. Like I love them so much. But also Annie and theater. Like I was cast as Annie in 6th grade
I gotta be honest.
in
Makes sense.
the show. And that was a big deal because
Yeah.
I had always loved Broadway, and my parents took us to see shows when we were kids
Mhm.
in New York, and we were really lucky to get to do that. And I just loved like a lot of Broadway soundtracks. But 6th grade finally got like a big role, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God,
I'm gonna
this
be
is
Annie.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good for you. So when did you pick up an instrument earlier? Were you singing first?
I was doing piano first.
Okay.
I started early. Like my parents had me doing lessons when I was like 5.
Okay.
But I did not like it, and I didn't really practice, and I was terrified of it and scared of my teacher.
Mhm.
I've
Okay.
heard that from a lot of people who start that young because they're kind of being not forced to do it, but like it wasn't my choice. Like I think it was great. My parents wanted me to have a foundation, and but I just was sort of too young and like scared.
Well, I hear
And
that people have the inclination to play, right? Like you come out,
probably,
and you're learning notes, and you're like, well, I just kind of like want to pound on this thing first, you know? I just want to like make my noises
yeah,
and stuff before like the less, and then like the music theory kind of comes later, you know?
yeah, makes
And like,
sense. Getting introduced is
yeah,
good,
yeah,
but 5 is little,
yeah.
like
Five is young, yeah,
tiny. So
yeah.
I didn't really stick with it. I did lessons till like 4th grade, and then I quit. And then I was studying violin because at my elementary school, you had to choose an instrument and be part of like the band or the orchestra. So I did violin for a few years, kind of sucked at it. And then I didn't do any guitar till like later, like in my 20s. And I bought a ukulele before college and started messing around with that. So yeah, and then I started writing songs
Okay,
when I was in college
okay,
on the ukulele.
right.
And I did a cappella music and stuff too, all through high school and college.
So I know that you incorporate a looper too, like at your shows.
Mhm.
Did you do that in college? Or did you start doing that later, or because I mean,
I did that later.
you sing, play guitar, and then you do like the looping thing, which is like its own. Might as well just be a whole other instrument.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
I did that after college
Okay.
because I didn't have my a cappella group
You're like
at my disposal.
I have to do all the parts.
Exactly.
If only there was an instrument where I could do all the parts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and an old bandmate of mine was visiting me in Philly, and we went to Guitar Center, and he was like, "You should mess around with this looper. It's pretty cool, and like you can write songs with it. You can do harmonies with yourself." And like, so I just kind of fell in love with that, and yeah, started to develop the vocal looping thing. And like, there's folks who use loopers with vocals, and they do much more impressive stuff. Like they'll beatbox, and then they'll just really layer it in a crazy way. I've always sort of just done like a 3-part harmony, almost like gospel style. Like it's very simple, and that's just how I like it because I just
Right.
love vocals.
Right.
Like that's my thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of developed my own style with it, and like I'll lay down the loop, which will be like usually 3 parts or maybe more, and then I'll cut the loop off and do like a B section to the song, and then I'll bring the loop back in. And then what got really fun because we started bringing my band into the mix. So like we'll do it in our live shows, which can be catastrophic if I screw up because if I'm a little bit off, the
Good
whole
pressure.
whew, yeah, it's stressful because we don't use a click. We just
Mhm.
trust my time,
Right.
which is not perfect. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's not perfect. So I'll lay down the loop live, and then the band will come in once the loop has been established.
Mhm.
And it's so fun. It always feels like this magic trick, and
Yeah.
people just love it. They
Yeah.
get really like dazzled by it, and it sounds cool. So I'm hoping to write new loop songs. I've been playing the same ones for years, and I just haven't really developed new tunes on that instrument. So I'd like to do that.
So take me to the point because you've been with your guys for a while, your band. When did you guys first connect? I mean, your band is hats off to the band, the guys in the Funky T. There's like members of your band who like have like places in my heart. I love those guys. So hats off to you guys. But when did you connect with them?
All those guys.
Yeah.
I met Ethan and Coop at the Philly Folk Fest, maybe 2012, somewhere in there. And through our friend Greg Barr, who used to play in the Funky T. He was like an original member. And I had always camped with Greg at Folk Fest, and because we had a mutual friend, and so we all kind of camp out together every summer at the fest. And Ethan and Coop were there one year, and we all hit it off. And Ethan and I really hit it off. Like, I was doing this cruise gig. I had gotten a job playing in a band on a ship traveling in the Mediterranean, and I met those guys on Craigslist. And it went it went good, but like, I thought, oh, I should do this again with people from Philly and put together our own band. And Ethan was down at the time. I was like, you would leave your life to go live on a boat with me for 4 months? And he's like, hell yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
When we leave.
Exactly. Yeah. And the whole rest of the Funky T, which was already a band on their own, they couldn't all go and do the trip because of just life things happening. But so Ethan and I put together our own band called Emily Drinker and the Nightcaps. Because we were like
that's actually a great name.
It's a good name, but it's like a little long. And then like they would sort of truncate it in the ship's program. Mm-hmm. Like they would print out a schedule for the day, and they would just say Emily and the Nightcaps. Yeah. So then you lose the joke because it's Emily Drinker and the Nightcaps. Yeah. But anyway, so we did that. And then eventually Ethan got the Funky T to go on the ship and do that job as well. So we got to do a couple tours together, traveling abroad. It was amazing. But after that experience, like we did 10 months at sea in 2016, which is a really long time to be on a boat.
Yeah.
Because you play every night. You're playing like several hours of covers. So we got kind of burnt out. And when we came back at the end of 2016, we were all kind of ready to start a new chapter. And I had all these original tunes that I had sort of collected through the years. And now I had these great guys that I've been playing with, and we had all of this history now playing every night together. And they had learned all my songs, or a lot of them at that point. So we kind of just kept working together as a band, but playing my songs. And before you know it, we recorded some stuff. So that's kind of the story.
And that's what became that first project, right? Starting to Feel?
Actually, so before that, I did have another project. I had a little EP called Run the Race. Right, okay. So I was already working with the Funky T at that point, but I also had this other band that was sort of my first band, the guys that play on that project. A couple players from the Philly area, Andrew Napoli and Ryan Lutz. And actually, Ethan plays on that first EP as well. But yeah, Starting to Feel was mostly Funky T. Rob Tate plays drums on that album.
Shout out Rob Tate.
Shout out Rob Tate.
Episode 12 or 3. I don't forget what episode. I'll put it in the comments.
I was just listening to that episode, actually.
It's my guy. Yeah.
I love Rob.
Yeah.
So yeah, he plays on that one. And Mike Hoffman has been part of the band. Yeah, just incredibly lucky. Eric Cooper on the bass.
Yeah, shout out Coop.
And then my partner Josh, who I met at a gig in Wildwood, New Jersey, playing covers like 7 years ago, he started to play with us too. So he's playing drums on the newest album.
I wanted to talk about that project, Starting to Feel. One of those songs really broke through. Enough is Enough, right? 50,000 plays on Spotify. Why do you think that song resonated with so many folks?
I have no idea. It's really like poppy and fun.
I'm expecting this in depth. I'm expecting this in depth.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
Well, no, that's not entirely true. I know a little bit. Yeah. So at the time when that song came out, I hired this like PR company to help me promote it. And they were based in the UK. And I paid them way too much money. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just thought I have to try this because I have no idea how Spotify works and how to get any traction on there at all. And since then, it's changed so much with like the algorithm and just how everything works. But at that time, I guess it was 2020, I was working with this company, and they ran like a month-long campaign, and they got it a lot of plays. Like, I still am not convinced those are all human plays.
Okay.
Because it happens so fast. Like 40,000 of those happened during that month-long campaign. And I'm like, why didn't it continue? It didn't continue at the rate that it started at. So I'm skeptical. And this happens to a lot of artists.
Right.
It's like payola. It's like we're not intending to. We're not like paying for the plays, but they don't always tell you exactly what they're doing.
And they shouldn't fall off a cliff either. When you get a big spike in plays, maybe like a slow descent, like everybody's heard it, a couple people pass it along, but it shouldn't like just fall off a cliff like that.
Right. So I was skeptical, but it never got pulled. So maybe it was real human plays, hopefully. And
tune, I heard it. It's nice.
Thanks.
I like it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Some of my other songs have, way fewer plays, but I know that those have been organic. So I'm like more proud of some of the other ones.
If I may, I don't think the plays are proportionate to the quality. Like it's not heads above all the other music,
Right.
I actually like, you have a song. It reminded me of it on the new EP, Something's Coming. It has like a little bit of a rock appeal. You're doing like this kind of Grace Potter, grovelly voice thing. I was like, give me more of that. All right. That's a huge tune. Here's a question for you. Do you ever just like listen to your music passively, or are you like too close to it?
I cannot listen to it.
You can't just like listen to your music just to play it? Like I just want to hear one of my songs like while I'm driving. Really?
No way. I don't know why. It's just weird to me. It's not like I'm not proud of it.
Yeah.
But no, that's not true. Fifth Ave, I could listen to that.
Yeah.
I just love that.
It's because the oldest tune. That's why.
I love that one.
Yeah.
No, I can listen to voice memos in the car, and I will do that from time to time just for inspiration. If I'm like, I don't have any new songs, like what am I doing? I'm not like thinking of new ideas. And then I'll go to my voice memos, and I have hundreds. So I'll just play through a few and kind of reacquaint myself with some old ideas. I'm like, oh, that could be a song, and kind of go back to, get to work. So I could listen to that, but it's harder to listen to like my own albums.
Well, it takes about 3 or 4 years for me to like listen to my music passively.
Really?
So like I put my whole catalog, like half my catalog I didn't even put out. And then I was waiting. I just had time. So I went to my old engineer. I was like, yo, you want us to put my stuff up? It's not that expensive anymore. Like that's not going to do anything, but might as well. And so like listening to my music like on like Apple Music, like for the first time, but it's like 6 and 7 year old songs. I was like, oh, I just like these joints, So I was like, but it took like 5-6 years to be able to just like passively listen to my music, Like I had to like separate myself from it.
Listening to yourself talk, do you experience the same thing or no?
Good question. I would say if you take all my episodes, it's kind of like the 20-60-20 rule. Like 20% of them, I just cringe. 20% of them, I'm like, I killed that one. That's actually pretty good. And then the middle 60, I'm like, that's all right. It's all right.
That's funny.
Yeah. Here's a question. Because you are a musician and you're constantly writing and creating and in that production mode, can you listen to industry music and A, still emotionally engage, and 2, actually get like emotionally invested?
It depends where I'm at. I am embarrassed to say I don't really listen to a ton of music lately. Yeah. After playing so much, like performing full time and all that, I don't know. Sometimes I don't have like I love listening to podcasts. Like I honestly listen to more podcasts than music.
Okay, makes sense.
But then I'll get into a mood where I'm like, I really want to go on a deep dive of like an artist and just try to like immerse myself. So it just depends where I'm at.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm weird. Like my boyfriend makes fun of me because I listen to podcasts when I'm running. Okay. Like when I'm exercising. He's like, who does that? How do you need like a beat? Like how are you running to people talking?
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I just love podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts about music. And so.
What's your favorite?
There's this one with Julian Jones. I'm just kidding. It's
I hear
really
it's good.
good.
I hear it's good
I
stuff.
hear it's great. No, but that's true. True story.
Thank you.
It is good. But there's a few different ones. I love this one called Basic Folk.
Okay.
And it's about, there's two different hosts. They switch off and they interview usually independent folk artists. And they ask great questions.
Okay.
So I really like that kind of show.
Sweet.
But yeah, I want to listen to more music, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just like I haven't been as much lately.
I'm glad you say that. Because of the show, I kind of forced myself to do like the New Music Friday thing, but it can start to feel like a job. And after 3 centuries of just being like a music nerd, just like devouring music by the album, it's like everything does start to feel derivative. But that payoff is like I can listen to like bad albums for like 6 weeks. And then like that one artist that breaks through and I'm just like, oh, all right, you've renewed my faith in the art form again, and it's worth it. But yeah, like I couldn't imagine if I didn't have the show to passively be able to listen to current industry music. A little tough.
Well, I think a big part of why I don't is like just so much choice. Like there's too much out there and I get like decision fatigue. I'm like, how do I choose? And so honestly, if I go onto my phone to listen to music, I prefer to listen to local artists that I follow because there's always people releasing new stuff and I just want to support them. Like I don't listen to too much like big industry folks anymore. Because I just can't even decide. And so I'll either listen to local artists to support my friends or the radio. Like I have WXPN on a lot and I love that.
Sure. Yeah, I can get behind that. Yeah, I have a disproportionately amount of fun listening to like my guest catalogs than I would to just like random play, Apple's alt rock list. You know what I mean? Of just random artists. You know what I mean? Here's a quick question. What is something about you that we wouldn't find out just from looking at your socials?
That I live at home with my parents currently.
Well, that's actually important because I understand that they play a vital role in your life. So your care for them, you are now juggling with an extensive music career. What is that like? And where the heck do you get the energy for all that?
It's like a new chapter. I don't know. I feel like things have been changing. My parents are getting older. They've been going through a lot of different health issues. And so moved in here at a time when my landlord at our old place was trying to sell our place. So we made kind of a quick plan to move in with my parents and help them out because my mom had to get a couple surgeries recently. And so it was good timing to like be there and help out.
Right.
And then I've doing this cruise ship gig again. I hadn't done the ship thing for like a decade and returned this past summer. So it kind of worked out to not be paying rent while I'm helping them out and then also leaving the country intermittently to go perform. And then, so it's been an interesting balancing act because I never feel like I'm doing enough for them. I feel like very stressed because it's kind of a full-time job, but they have other support. And, my other family members are really involved as well. So we're all kind of in it together. But yeah, it's definitely been new to kind of try to balance stuff. And like, I feel like I've done a decent job at like still doing my career while helping them out and
there's tangible evidence of it. Yeah. You're putting out music, you're doing shows. I'm sure
I
you're
think
doing
I
a great
need
job
that
for them as well.
To keep going because it can be really all consuming to care for people.
Yeah.
And so to be able to like run off at night to my gig or even to an open mic or just like to connect with some friends at a show, like that's been really useful as like a way to let loose a little bit after some caretaking duties that can be exhausting. So I'm making it work. And it's honestly, it's an honor to get to be here for my parents when they need me.
Absolutely.
Even though it's like frightening to see them getting older and dealing with some really major challenges, it's like, it's real. It's getting real. In my mid-30s, I'm like, oh my God, this is what happens. Everyone kind of goes through this, even if they're not close with their parents, everyone sees their parents get older and you have to deal with change. So
you've
I
always
hope
been
that becomes a topic in new songs. I haven't really been able to write about some
Yeah.
of the stuff that's been going on yet, but
Maybe
I
you're too
know
close to it now to, like,
I'm
write
too
about
close.
it?
Yeah, I'm too
Yeah.
close to write about anything right now. So I'm waiting patiently, and I know when the time is right, I'll be able to use songwriting as like a way to not heal. It's not like but just to process and
Yeah.
get through hard stuff. So
Is that, well, 2 questions. 1, were you before your parents fell sick, were you always just really close with your parents?
yeah, I
Okay.
would say so.
And s
And my
and
brothers. I'm
okay.
really close with my
Mhm.
2 brothers.
So in being that close to them, do you live with, and I'm only asking because I feel it. Do you live with that innate fear that kind of creeps in when you start to see your parents getting older? Like in my mind, my parents are perpetually 35, 40 years old. Right? Like,
Really?
yeah, I just always think of my parents as like 40-year-old people, you know? Kind of like how Superman is always just like 35, 40 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that's just how
true.
you just picture them, you know what I mean? Like if you say Jim Jones, a 40-year-old picture of my dad pops in my head. You know what I mean? That's just how I imagine him. So when I see like the white creeping through, or he gets hurt, or he's like out of commission for like a day or two, or he's sick, I'm like, oh my God, like
Get panicked.
my superhero, like I didn't even know he could be hurt. You know what I mean? Like it's weird.
Yeah.
And you think I'm a grown man. Obviously, you think I'd be able to come to grips with this by now. But like, no, it still trips me out, like seeing my parents get old.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very trippy, and it's just a process of, like, every day, like, adjusting a little bit to, like, a new normal or, like, yeah, recalibrating to, like, "Okay, this is they're not how they were before. They're dealing with physical challenges, they're dealing with a lot of stuff," and it's like, okay, just adjusting a little bit
Mhm.
and trying to accept where they're
Right.
at right now.
Mhm. Well, the cool
Yeah, it's
part
getting
about it,
easier in
yeah.
time. At
But
first,
here's
I was like, "This isn't okay. This is not right. Like, what is going on?" And now I'm
right,
like, "Okay, I can hang with where
right.
my dad's at right now." He's changed a lot in the last couple of years. He's been through hell, and I'm like, "Okay." And yeah, it's getting easier, kind of.
Right. Well, you're not who you were before either.
No,
You know,
that's true.
you were, without sounding cliche, like you were created for moments like this. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And your shoulders are broad enough to carry the weight of these like huge monster responsibilities that only a few people on the planet can actually do. There's not
Yeah.
a lot of people that can write an album like yours and then go home and care for your parents. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? While pursuing a career at the same time. So it's,
Thanks.
yeah, that's a big
That's
lift.
making me tear up because I'm like, yeah, it is hard. And like I said, I hope that I'll be able to write about some of this stuff. Because I always feel like, speaking of like Superman, like musicians, it's almost like this superpower, not to pat ourselves on the back too much, but like we're so lucky that we have music as a way to deal with life's challenges. And like I know people have different ways of dealing with their struggles, of course, but like for me, music is the best way to get through anything that comes our way. And like we're so fortunate that we can use that as an outlet to process. And like maybe I will end up writing songs about, my dad being sick, and it's about me. Maybe I wrote it for myself
Right.
to process or get through something, and then the greatest hope is that that connects with someone else and their own experience. And like the fact that it can do that, it does this like it's like this fiber. I don't know. I'm sounding very like hippy dippy right now,
No,
but
it
you
makes
know what I'm
sense.
saying.
Well, I think it's those dark moments that you reach down and pull out. Like that's how you get those universally loved songs. Yes,
Yeah.
the BTS dance drum that like has a billion streams. That's one way to get a hit. But when you reach down and you find this deep dark moment and you're like, I'm not really good. I don't really feel right recording this. And then you record it, and then someone in Minnesota, and someone in California, then someone in Ukraine, and someone in Australia are like, oh, I feel that. That's how
It's
you get the
crazy.
hit. It's like experimental music that happens to be accessible, you
Yeah.
know? And it's not the beat, it's not the algorithm. It's like, hey, I hurt like that too. I feel
It's
like that too. I'm
humanity.
scared like that too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's where the superpower is. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? I personally I can't do that. I can write a song about the bar down the street. I can write a song about my ex-girlfriend, but like that deep, like longing, painful thing that really connects people. I just never. My brother has it. I don't have it. I wish I did. I'd probably keep doing music if I did. You know, you
Oh,
have it. You have it.
thanks.
Mhm. Geez, how do you segue to another question from that?
I know.
So, all right. So, Emily, what's the best compliment that someone has ever paid you?
I mean, whenever I get feedback about not music itself and the music I'm making, but just my role in my community and trying to bring folks together, that really touches me because I really have grown to care about that so much in the last couple of years, and like been hosting this group for women in the Philly music scene, and that's been really cool. And hosting our festival that we have done in our backyard in Roxborough, like stuff like that, like just trying to bring people together with music. I don't know. I can't think of like a specific compliment.
Well, what you're doing is I actually didn't know about that. Can you give me just like the elevator pitch for the group that you're doing with women? Because people need to know about that.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's called Calliope Coalition.
Okay.
It's a monthly meetup for women in the Philly music scene. So it's a variety. You know, there's some folks that just go to open mic. There's some folks who are super pro and tour and do this full time. So it's a nice mixture of women. And we just decided we needed a space to, I like to say, talk shit and talk shop.
There we go.
Because
my two favorite topics.
We need both, especially as women, because there's just, this world is male dominated. And, we talk about stuff as simple as like, how do you deal with like an asshole sound guy on the job who doesn't think you know what you're doing, and you show up and they immediately just ask your male bandmates about the setup, and you're like, well, actually it's my band and this is what I need. And just learning how to show up in those moments. We talk about that. Like one of our first meetings, my friend Katie Miller did a workshop about just that, about like sound check, how to conduct yourself at a sound check, and how to make a stage plot ahead of the show. You have to make like this little map of what your needs are, your input list, just like basics, and just kind of providing educational resources for the people who show up. And then sometimes, like I said, we talk shit and we'll just open up the space. It's a small group. There's like a dozen of us usually. Sometimes we just bring our instruments and everyone shares a song. We've had like songwriting days where we break into groups and try to write together. It's just cool. It's like whatever we want. Like we'll kind of just ask the group like, oh, what should we do next time? And we'll get guest speakers. It's great. And I present it with my friend Bo Rains Beer, and she's an amazing multi-instrumentalist in the scene, and we kind of just make it happen every month. And we publicize it a little bit, but it's kind of word of mouth. Like I refuse to make an Instagram account for it because I just don't want another thing to update.
Yeah, I like the exclusivity, the anonymity of it. You kind of have to know about it. You have to get invited to it. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, we want to include lots of folks, but it is sort of meant to be a smaller group.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, with regards to community, you have a certain set of values that's evident in your music. Not preachy, but it's there. Do you feel like religion, politics, like has a place in music? Should you keep them separate? Do you feel like artists maybe have some sort of an obligation to speak on the matters of the day? Where do you land on that topic?
I love that question. And I do think artists have, if not an obligation, I don't know. It's hard because you don't want to be too preachy about a particular topic, because most artists are probably not experts on like foreign affairs or even like U.S. government and all of that. But I think we really don't have any excuse, especially in this day and age with our phones giving us constant, updates on everything going on. We're witnessing so much just scrolling for a few minutes on your phone. You could see so much horrific stuff. It's like we don't really have an excuse to not know what's going on. And because of that, I'm like, there's just too much at stake right now. And so I think if you have even like a small platform, it is important to use that to make your voice heard. And if you can do that and you can reach even a few people and make them think about something differently. I mean, I don't know if I could change anyone's minds about like politics And I don't know if that's the goal, but even just to like make my voice heard in the hopes that like it will invite someone to the table to feel like they could do that too. Or yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. I try to invite people in on that by like being somewhat vague, but
Right.
it's always there. Yeah, it's kind of an underlying thing in my set.
Well, I don't think you change minds by instruction. I think you more
Right.
so change minds by example. They look at the package and they say, okay, attractive girl, super talented girl, beautiful songs, awesome shows. Oh, she really isn't about this, what's going on with this set of
Mhm.
people.
Mhm.
Maybe this is worth me taking a look at it. So it's not you
Right.
wagging your finger at somebody to say you should do this. It's you saying, this is the package, right? And this is one of my
Yeah.
non-negotiables. And then
Yeah,
somebody can
exactly.
kind of latch onto it and agree or not.
Yeah, it's a tough one though, because it's like some people, their music isn't entirely autobiographical, and like maybe there's story songs and there's fiction in the songs. But I feel like my music is pretty personal and relates to like what I'm going through in my life.
Right.
And right now, how can I not? I don't know. Like for me, it's just it goes without saying. Like I am not a fan of Donald Trump, and
Okay.
there's no way that I can really pretend that I like that's not something I can be vague about. Like I don't mind being vocal about that because I'm like you said, this is a non-negotiable for me, and that's because it's so directly connected to like things that I care about, things that he doesn't care about. Um, so anyway, things like that. I find it easier as time goes on to be vocal because I'm like, yeah, there's just too
Yeah.
much at stake. There's
Yeah.
too much scary stuff going on. And like, if you have any chance to speak out about it, do it.
And I think it becomes easier when they start to oppose like fundamental truths.
Exactly.
A lot of issues you can kind of go back and forth about, and you can argue the legislation. But it's like when you start talking about like basic human stuff,
Right.
it's like, all right, well, this feels like a no brainer, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really been interesting through the years to try to step into more of that publicly. And I've been like scared at times. And then other times I'm like, oh, I don't care. This is a no brainer for me to speak about this and like and just try because some of the songwriters I admire the most have done that, you
Right.
know? So
Absolutely.
it's been interesting. Like I definitely have some political songs and
Hmm.
even if I'm like nervous to do them in certain settings, I usually get feedback afterwards like thank you for that song. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for being like vocal about the stuff that matters to you. Yeah, I don't know if any of that was very eloquent.
No, it's not meant to be eloquent. It's meant to be honest, and I think you nailed it.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks.
so it doesn't have to be about anything political, but if someone were to leave this interview and be like, all right, I'm gonna go check out some of Emily Drinker's stuff. If they were a young person, female, early 20s, teenager that wants to get into this, what's one message you would want them to take away with them after listening to your stuff?
Just to go for it. Put yourself out there. Go to open mics, connect with other artists. Just try. Because I never thought I'd be able to get to do this and get to perform and make enough money to live. I mean, barely enough, really not enough, but doing it in somewhat of a sustainable way
Hmm.
has been, beyond my wildest dreams. So do it. Don't be afraid. Get weird with it. Actually, someone told me that one time at a show. They were like, I loved the set. It was really cool. This is when I got to open for the, NPR Tiny Desk.
Yeah.
They have a contest every year and
Mhm.
I had applied. I participate in the contest every year,
Right.
but one year the winner, they plan a tour for the winner, and they came to Philly on their tour, and they had me open for the winner that
Oh,
year,
that's
which was super cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. And someone in that audience that night came up to me and they were saying, "Oh, I loved it, great show, but I just want you to get weird, get a little more weird with it." I'm like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah.
But they were just saying, don't be afraid to take chances. Because I think at that time I was really buttoned up and everything. I wanted it to sound perfect. And I was a little stiff. And so maybe that's a message for someone. Don't be afraid of like being perfect, or don't try to be perfect. Try to just express yourself however you want to, because there are fans out there for every type of thing. There's no one type of human, and just be you. Go for it. Be crazy.
That's good advice. Yeah. I always say too, like because a big thing with me is like, I never really was like naturally gifted at music. So I had to find an engineer where I felt comfortable enough to play. There's going in there to record the song. And there's like, hey, look, man, I got an idea, but I just need to play. I have this idea. I'm going to do some bad takes. I wouldn't be able to do that with anybody but Mike Burchard. So same thing. Like, and I would actually say that. I was like, yo, man, do you mind if we're just weird for a minute? You know what I mean? So if I was like, let's say I just like paid, $300 an hour to go over to like Forge, Morningstar, like one of these like big studios. Ooh. And I had these like 3 engineers behind just watching me. I would never be able to do music. You know what I mean? Or record songs. You know what I mean?
Because you would be in your head about it?
Sure. Yeah. Like I needed to go in there to a place, a few whiskeys deep, smells like pizza from a few hours ago, still in the clothes I slept in, and be like, look, man, can I just like pour my life out onto this, like a few tracks just to see what happens, Yes. And, some of my best stuff, Nice. No, it was the only way I could do that stuff because I don't know how to play instruments and, so yeah, certainly be weird. If there was only one way to support you, right? There's a bunch of ways to get a hold of you and everything, but if there was only one way that we could leave this show and go support you, what's the single best way to do that?
I would like to say Patreon. So I recently, like a year or so ago, started a Patreon page. Do you know about Patreon?
Sure.
Yeah. And I have some members on there. I would love some more folks. It's a way to financially support artists that you love. And in return, we're sharing various content, like behind the scenes stuff. Sometimes I'll share new songs or songs that aren't released.
Nice.
Like it's meant to be more exclusive stuff just for the folks on that. It's like a little private club. And I don't really nurture that community enough. Like I want to host a party and have all the local patrons get together, and I'll play a little house show. And now you can do live streams on Patreon, which is cool.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Patreon is a wonderful way because it can financially support an artist like me. And even if you're not local and you can't come out to a show, it's just like kind of a cool way to do it. But of course, coming to shows and buying merch is great too.
All right. So you're here to hear, folks. You're here to hear first, folks. If you want to go support Emily Drinker, make sure you check out her Patreon. You're going to love the music, but if you really want to take a peek behind the curtain, kind of see the creative process, if you want to network with some other creatives, maybe even get invited to like a really cool house show and just be a part of like an amazing community, spend a few bucks. Let's support our artists. Check out Emily Drinker's Patreon. And if that's not really your bag, at absolute least, you got to hear her last album. It's unbelievable.
Oh, thank Emily, you so much.
I can't thank you enough for putting aside time with everything you have on your plate. I mean, this has been like, I have another 2 hours worth of content we could talk about. But there's not enough minutes in a day. Thank you so much. Please promise me you'll come back and visit us again.
I would love to. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for your very thoughtful questions and your really thoughtful ears when you listen to my newest album, and just for you taking the time to learn more about me. That's really kind of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it was a pleasure and an honor. And the rest of you, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you come back next Thursday when I have another awesome guest. Make sure you check out Emily Drinker and take care of yourselves. And if you like it, tell somebody who loves music. See you next time.